It's fascinating how many things they got wrong. It was fascinating. Just the absolute hysteria, the outrage around this was unbelievable. I mean, Pelosi came out yesterday calling for an impeachment inquiry based on this, based on a transcript she hadn't read yet, based on hearsay from whistleblower in the intelligence community. Now, what no one's talking about, though, is that a fellow who seems to be somewhat partisan in the intelligence community heard secondhand something that he didn't like about a conversation the president had with the foreign government, with a foreign president, went to the IG, made a whistleblower complaint under the urgent concern statute, which I don't know how this ever reached that statute. Someone has to ask the IG, Michael Atkinson, why this even was filed, why this even went to the Director of National Intelligence. But I mean, this guy found it troubling. Now we had to release this transcript. This does irreparable harm to foreign policy moving forward. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. You can't have a conversation with a foreign leader. Has this ever happened before? I don't think anyone's talking about the damage it's done to America as a whole, just because these people or these partisans or Democrats or the media don't like Donald Trump. This hurts Americans, but whether it's this president, the next president, or any president in the future. No one seems to be talking about that.
Right, because no foreign leader can have confidence that what he or she says to the president of the United States is going to stay confidential. They're now going to worry that this could be released if partisans who don't like the president want to make it released for their own political agenda. Yeah, I mean, it's a good point that you're making here. There's also some fake news that we need to correct here. This has been fake news that has been coming out of MSNBC and CNN all day. Part of this transcript that's been released, there's a line where President Trump says, "I have a favor I want to ask you, though." And what CNN and MSNBC is doing is they're showing on the screen that one line, and then they're skipping what President Trump says next, and they're misrepresenting it. They're not accurately portraying what the transcript says, because what it says is, "I have a favor to ask you," and then the president talks about CrowdStrike. MSNBC and CNN are crossing the part about CrowdStrike out and jumping down to the part about Biden to make it seem like the president is asking that as a favor. That's not true.
Well, they haven't read it. That's why they haven't read it, and they heard that secondhand. I heard Judge Napolitano on Shepard Smith's show say the same thing. He mischaracterized it completely. The favor he was asking was looking into 2016 election meddling, the same thing the Democrats just spent $40 million in 2 years investigating. That was what he asked for as a favor. So, of course, they don't want to bring that up. I mean, that was looking back to 2016. The only other thing he brought up was a mention of Biden, Biden and possible corruption, with his son sitting on the board of a Ukrainian company, perhaps as an insurance policy. We don't know. It's something we should look into. And again, this comes back to, do the American people deserve to know if their former vice president engaged in any sort of corruption in the Ukraine? Do Americans deserve to know that, particularly when he's running for president? I think it all comes back to that. I don't think Democrats want to talk about it. I think they're going to use this impeachment inquiry to gloss that over. I think they're going to use this impeachment inquiry to not look into how this became a whistleblower complaint to begin with. This doesn't reach any of the statutes of urgent concern, not a single one. So I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered here, and I just hope someone in the media will start asking them.